Welcome to Poets from the Neighborhood. I am VeerajaR.
And I'm Bruce Jennings. We hope you enjoy the poems we'll be reading today, poems written by your friends and neighbors. Our first poem is one I wrote called Being Beloved. Being loved and being beloved differ, yet both propel beautiful swimmers across the big lake in revved up speedboats and synchronized breaststrokes. While she was beloved by others, friends gathered now in memoriam assembled, she was not truly seen by he who loves her, he who did not notice how high she flew. Together all that time, she went over his head. He searches ground fog as she sits on a cloud. He should have looked up at her, should have looked up to her as others did. The songs of friends to her soared while he sang to something below, sang of his closely watched private memories, precious, incomplete, cautiously yet ferociously redacted. Remembering drains one. In time, faces formed, farewells, and the gathering closed. Quiet and twilight arrived. He thought of his helpless watching as she waved amid her final days, dancing St. Vitus dance. Now her being beloved presides. Her revenant love beloves, and he makes do.
Old Dog, Vietnam, 1971 to 1972. Written by Stan Tyson, the Vietnam veteran, August 26. Old Dog was a pup when a soldier picked him up on a VC trail that followed the Song Bee, where an ambush had been set with claymores at the net, and hidden quiet should Charlie pass that way. The pup had wandered in and found an instant friend. On the hard pack that he traveled through the night, he had foiled a VC plot and escaped a cooking pot, and a future with the calf seemed shining bright. No one could quite agree as to his pedigree, but when food was near, he came to any hand. He quickly grew in size, and finally the guys just tagged him that old dog and let it stand. Old Dog was all around and usually could be found checking out his friend for something else to eat. A bit of this or that, or a tasty paddy rat was all it took to make his day complete. But choppers would come in and away would go his friend, and Old Dog was left to wait for him once more. But it all seemed worthwhile when he saw that welcome smile, and they were back together as before. His soldier left one night on an outbound mercy flight, on a journey to a far and distant land. Down deep where lonely lies was reflected in his eyes. As Old Dog never seemed to understand, the years went slowly by, but Old Dog would always try to meet each bird and search with eager care the faces passing by, and you'd almost hear a sigh when he'd realize his trooper wasn't there. I'd see him in the shade as the day began to fade, with ears alert for sounds that rode the wind, to announce an inbound run, racing with the sun, and bringing back his soldier once again. Then finally came the word, the rumors we had heard, were true, and the cab was going home. And on that final day, the soldiers marched away. Old dog found that he was left alone. He checked each usual place for one familiar face and hoped again, all hope he would find his friend. Denied the truth by fate, old dog settled down to wait for a chopper that would never come again. The jungle seemed to know if the soldiers ever go, the monsoon rains would heal the scars of war. The bunkers would decay and wire would rust away, and all would be the same as once before. Years had come and gone, yet memories linger on, and friends and scenes of long ago are there. A time, a youthful face, a lonely, lonely place, and the smell of cordite powder in the air. There's a memory I find still preys upon my mind, and the painful guilt that can never go away. A comrade to the end, we left a faithful friend with the debt to him that we could not repay. In prayers, I see old dog moving through the morning fog, through razor barb and relics of the past. He hesitates to stare at a figure smiling there, and I know his friend had come for him at last.
Living on the Battlefield by Louise Colln. There's a spot in our yard, he said, that's greener than the rest. I see it when I garden. I measured it just now. It's big enough. There's maybe several soldiers down there, covered up that day, forgotten. I think I'll dig. No, she said, leave them. They're not your story. My land, he said. I bought the land. Leave them, she said. They bought that part with their blood and their bones, fought for the land. Maybe not, he said. There's other side buried here. Fought for the land anyway, she said. It's all one now. If I bring them up, he said, folks will honor them. Leave them, she said. They honor themselves.
White Butterfly Wings, written by Susie since Irvin. A white butterfly undoes its wings against the weathered wood of the porch railing, lays them out flat on the cool mist of first light. Clasp and unclasp two praying hands, morning's rebirth of all living things, reaffirming of lifelong addiction to this time, this space. From temple eaves, wild birds sing, crickets call, our world inscribes its praise across the white velvet of butterfly wings, until a clearing is spied ahead and beyond our new space. Book our flight on white butterfly wings.
Next poem is entitled The Last One by Joseph G. Sanfilippo on the passing of his uncle. A small glow of light stains the darkness of the room, bringing faces hidden in the night shadows to sleep-filled eyes that I cannot close to rest. Only one was left. He has abandoned me, helpless, to the sadness that invades the silence of the night, to the memories, heavy stones that weigh the mind of the last being. He has fled without a word, a final face resting in the incomplete obscurity of a room, perhaps the last memory. Worn down in the loneliness of the last years, he has lived among living ghosts in rooms empty of life, far from the spontaneous smile of our new youth. He has left me one more memory, locked up gently in a little corner of shadows, one face among the many that crowd my lonely present. He has gone away quietly, continuing to live in perpetual sleep, a sleep enclosing the secret of his final happiness. No one is now left.
I Wish, written by VeerajaR, from my book, Joy of Being. I wish I can heal your pain that I feel deep in my heart. Lost for words, I sob for you. Lost heavy, a caring one. I wish I can stop your tears, make it all go away, and grant you a wish for you to never lose a loved one. Thank you for watching Poets from the Neighborhood. We hope you'll join us again soon.